Yeah, I mean, it is a little frustrating because we're not, looking to do that. We've been able to battle back, but you're kind of playing with fire when you put yourself in that position enough. So we're here again. We're not going to dodge that. We need to be better in game two because you don't want to be going down 0-2 at home. Like last series, it's always a bigger hole to climb out of. So we can definitely be better, and it'll have to start tomorrow.
Where do you have to be better? I know the middle rounds were a little bit, I don't know if it was fatigue, that's what Pete said, or if it was just execution.
Yeah, I mean, we got off to a great start. That's one area is when you get that kind of start, you got to stay with that game. There's going to be momentum changes here and there. We know that, but understanding situations and how to handle them and get a job done when you can. And it was a slow kind of drip coming back at us a little bit, and we never really took control of it. We had a few chances, and um, so that's an area you're always looking, and that team's dangerous, so you just can't take your foot off the gas. You gotta, you know, yeah, so you just gotta be better.
It's always hard. Sorry, it's always hard to score come playoff. I
Yep.
am like that forever, but Pete did sort of call it out last night in his press conference. He needs to see a little more scoring, stop offensive guys. But you hear that? You agree?
100%. I'm all in on that. We as players, you get put out in power play situations. You get maybe a little bit more ozone starts, stuff like that. It's a responsibility to if you aren't scoring, to generate more. More opportunities to know what's coming. So it's fine. There's series where they're tough, and last series it was one of those, like, a great defensive team, not a lot of goals out there either way. But you had to stick with it, and we got through it as a group for sure. But if you're looking to do that every round, it gets tough. So find our game a little bit better, and have some success. And at the end of the day, it's still going to come down to, you need to win 1 goal games. They're going to be tight. You got to defend. There's going to be 2-1, 3-2 games, but you get your chance. You got to stick in the net.
What's difficult about generating
Say it again.
what's hard about generating offense against Colorado, right? Like if you start cheating or whatever, like they'll pounce on turnovers, they'll go the other way. Like it's a tough balance, right? Where you still got to play the right way. Yeah, be very good person to score.
Yeah, but the right way is gets it done. We've done that a lot this year, and it's proven. This group shows you can score doing it the right way. It's not about cheating the game. Like, there's not a guy in there that's looking to cheat it right now. But there are reminders, to not be on the outside, get to the inside, get support, get around the puck, win some battles. You're doing certain things, and you have to, at the end of the day, win an extra puck battle, make a play. There's not a lot of secret to that. The game doesn't change, and the guys that are around it a lot have definitely had more success.
Uh, you've had some guys who've dealt with slumps. Jason in the playoffs last year. I think Wyatt had 17 games earlier this year. Duchesne's had like 16 or 17. Does it help to talk about that stuff, or does each guy have to figure it out for himself?
A little bit of both. We've gone through it. It's like not the first time. It's not going to be the last. You need guys to pick you up and play. I'm fighting it a little bit that way as well, like finding the back of the net. But it feels like it's coming. But talk about it, address it. You have to a little bit right now because it's the time of year we're in. And at the end of the day, you're going back to your previous question. You don't want your game to take away from other areas, regardless. So, like, you got to compete. You got to do it the right way because it sets up the defensive side of the game. It sets up other guys' chances. So it's not one guy. We're not looking at. It's all on this guy. That we're all in this together and play a certain way and play hard. And from there, it's things will work itself out. It's you last series you go on. You're talking slumps, like, I don't have any production. You try to get some good things, and you get a win in the series, which is huge. Now you understand you're going to have to play a role moving forward, and have some of that to keep advancing. Like, someone's going to have to step up. But it's great. I've been on the other side where I've had tons of production. We lose a series, in my career, or somebody, and it's at the end of the day, it's not what we're looking for. You want to win because take the biggest slump of your life to keep winning. And so it's a collective group effort in there and work through it together. And I mean, the number one goal is to win games, and we can definitely do it right for longer.
Joe, what's it like to try and plan for defending Cale Makar when you're out on the ice against him in terms of how different he is and all defensively, the self-awareness of, like, do you process when he's hit the ice and where he is?
Yeah, he's impressive. It's even like that one, I think their third goal, I get a good piece of him, and he's able to roll off, and you stay with him, you get a shot, but he buys times for guys to get around the net, get in certain areas. He's just an impressive skater. He's got a good release, great hockey IQ. Like, I mean, everyone sees what he's doing. He's impressive. So it's a group effort. I think at times you probably treat him a little bit like a top forward where you want to be above him. Make him stop at times, make him, go different directions, get out of his hands. And, but yeah, he left an impact game one, and we'll have to do a better job.
Didn't it hard for you to do your thing 3 games? Like, I look at the Vegas series, they're so good at boxing out the middle, right? And then at least 5-on-5. This game, like at least the second, third, it had a block, right? So there's just not a lot of opportunity for you to get front and to do what you do best.
Yeah, but that's on me to figure out. If you're talking strictly about my game, like I find a different area. It's been like this for a while. I've been able to find it. It's not the first time that I'm going to the net and having success there. So I've done it in the past. Get there, find different little layers and make plays. I definitely felt like I was moving better last game. Hold on a few more pucks, but now that has to translate to more opportunities around the net and getting there. And so they can do as good of a job as they want. It's you're not gonna just throw the towel in and say good job. You're gonna keep working, look for that loose puck, like and try to find some space. And there's a little space out there, I think. And yeah, go from there. Go figure it out.
As we go through last year and this year, you guys gotten down in pretty much every playoff series. I think 2-1 Minnesota, 2-1 Seattle, 3-0 Vegas, 2-0. So do you see anything that you guys are doing that's not good? And then you've won 3 of those series, so then that is good. You've been able to come back from it all. And you guys think about any of this stuff, or is this all for the newspapers?
Probably just the newspapers. Obviously, not the ideal start to have, but I feel it's a long series, and it might happen you go down, but then you just have to find ways to battle back to it.
And you analyze the second and third and the way their top players played. What do you learn to that? What is that? Or
Well, I just think that obviously they gained momentum from the power plays and from the goals, and just feeds their game. So obviously eliminate their power plays, but at the same time, you noticed yesterday you maybe take a little bit your foot off the gas, and the game starts to shift for them. And we learned that can't happen.
How do you guys impose your will? Because it seems like in the games you've played against Colorado, they've all been, even the 74 win up there, they've been kind of high-scoring, go games. Can you slow things down and slow them down?
Yeah, I mean, we have to, obviously, so that if we want to win them. I think, obviously, it fits their game as well if they get their rush and top players going. So, I mean, it's not easy, but it's a good test for us to do.
When you have the 5-man rotation on D, it's a little bit different than what you guys did during the regular season. Have there been adjustments? And, I mean, are there good things with, I mean, you find yourself with pretty much every partner throughout a game.
Yeah, I think it's been rolling fine. Obviously, your partner changes, but I think with our system, it's totally fine, and I've been okay with it playing like whoever, pretty much forever.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I'm fine playing either left or right side too. So,
That's especially the biggest challenge. For
Yeah.
You say you're the number one guy. The lefty who plays the right side. It seems before Miro too.
yeah, I mean, just whoever Nash calls, you kind of go with it, and just I don't think that really that much. Just go out there and play whoever you're out there with.
I mean, it's a human game. Like, I'm tired. You look tired. Like, how do you recover from that last night? Game ends at midnight. It's a tough loss. Like, when you get home, when you fall asleep, like, how do you recover?
Yeah, it wasn't the best sleep, obviously. I'm pretty good to fall asleep after games, so I can shut it down quickly. But obviously now just good stretch, eat well, just hopped on sauna quickly and take a nap and just relax today and get ready for tomorrow again.
Did you feel the fatigue? Like, he said that he thought the fatigue really hit the team. Second half of that game, at least regulation. Did you feel it just coming off a 7-game series against Vegas?
Not much, maybe just a little bit. Maybe like how quickly it turned from Sunday's Game 7 to the Game 1 on Tuesday. So, but I wouldn't say that I didn't feel it that much.
Jacob DeLander, you talked about how they talk about each other's slumps and everything and help each other. Rope's in a slump right now. He was the leading scorer in the playoffs last year. He hasn't really scored so much this year. Do you guys talk at all, or is that just keep that on the ice and not worry about it too much?
Both, obviously. You try to cheer up and you kind of at the same time try to get him forget about what's happened past, and you can only affect what's coming ahead. So obviously if it's haven't gone your way in the past, you can't change it. You just try to focus and be the best what you can on either the next game or next shift.
Yeah. Can you give him scoring tips?
Just shoot it past the goalie.
Like, I don't know Rope at all. Like, is he hard himself? Is he able to is he able to block it out? Like, what's his personality like? Or he's as good as well?
Both. I would say obviously he demands a lot from himself, and like you said, he has put up the points before in the past and now hasn't really gone his way. So obviously he's like not saying thinking about it, but he like wants to change it. Obviously.
Can I ask you about Chris Tannen? Now you've got to play with him for a couple months. What did you think of him before as an adversary, but now as a teammate? What do you know about him, close eye objects?
Well, he seems bigger on the ice when now he's on the other side. But even though like when we played against him, we knew he blocks a tons of shots. I feel like that's first thing what people talk about him. But obviously, maybe surprised me how well he plays with the puck too, like the poise and when he holds on to it, and that way he kind of digs the first forechecker, and then he can make that tape-to-tape pass. And off the ice, just so kind and like humble guy. Felt like he was right away fit in the locker room. Like now feels like he's been longer with us than the trade deadline. Giving like fist bumps all around and chats to everyone, and so just kind person.
He does.
Oh, are we going back to last year? Oh, okay. All right.
Do the one against Minnesota, do the one against Seattle. I mean, it's just.
Oh yeah, no, I didn't know we were rewinding to last year. All right.
You guys have done a good
Yeah.
job of streaming back some.
Yeah.
3 of those 4 series.
Yeah, I mean it's not ideal, Mike. We know that, and it's definitely not the plan. Some of those, they're all different. Some of those game ones we played well enough to win. Some of them we didn't. We just, that is the situation, and we got to deal with it. So we've got to make sure we respond and have a good game too, and I have no doubt we will.
Does the history help respond?
Yeah, I think, one thing about our group, I don't think we've ever been overwhelmed by the situation. Even looking, if you want to talk about last year, we were down 3-0 to Vegas, got it to a game 6 here at home. So, I don't think this group's overwhelmed by any situation. And, it's one game. We lost in overtime that we could have won too. So, I think a little early for the skies falling, and, we'll rebound and move forward.
You mentioned last night some scores and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I was trying to go through it this morning. It seems like there's some guys that need to finish.
Yeah.
And there's some guys that need to generate more.
Yeah.
I looked at Seguin, Duchesne, Stakeholder, like they need to finish.
Yeah.
It's Pavelski needed.
Yeah.
Is that accurate?
Yeah, I think there's definitely some guys that go in different categories there for sure. Listen, Vegas, the Vegas series, no one's 5-on-5 numbers are going to look good, including theirs. I mean Hurdle and like Stone and they got some power play stuff, but that's just that you got two teams there that there isn't any room, and if you weren't scoring on the power play, it was tough sledding for everybody. So, I think this series is a little bit different, and I think there's a responsibility on our forward group to be more of a difference maker in this series and take some pressure off our D. And on the D thing, I know there's a lot of drama around it. I mean, if we were dressing 11-7 and overplaying some forwards a few more minutes a game, we don't get all those questions either. I think Miro played around the same as Taves and Makar last night. I mean, that's you're one game into the second round of the playoffs. So, I don't quite get the drama about this. We're not playing 4. It's for me, it's similar to, there's been a lot of teams over the past. I think Tampa's been famous for dressing 11-7 and loading up some of their key guys. It is what it is. You do what you have to do with your roster to try and give yourself a chance to win this time of year.
Montreal basically like 40 on the way.
Exactly. And we've talked about that because they beat us with 4D.
I want to see one guy been curious.
Yeah.
Hit Slate.
Yeah.
We don't know which one this time of year, but
Yeah.
he doesn't look like the same player to me he was last year.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know how to ask this. Like, what can you do to get him going? What
Yeah.
needs to happen? Right? Warsaw.
Well, I guess what I would say is you a lot of times you don't know the whole story, and I'm not going to give you the whole story. But what I will say is he's not alone in that boat. I mean, the strength of our team all year has been, if Rupe Hin's line doesn't score, then Matt Duchesne's line score. If Matt Duchesne's line doesn't score, then Wyatt Johnson's line scores. If none of those guys score, our fourth line scores. So, this isn't on Rupe Hin's. We've got our depth has to show up in this series.
Obviously, some positive last night. It's such a close game. And I thought that, Tav on the big line, that's really good moments.
Yeah.
Matchup that you're chasing. I mean, he wasn't off the ice for a kid's goal, but you haven't always chased over the years. So
Yeah.
you're making a point here. And he's,
Yeah, tandem's been invaluable for us. I think in order to chase some of that stuff, it's personnel based. You have to have guys you think it's worth chasing for those that are that effective. I've had guys, we had Mark-Edward Vlasic, and Justin Braun as a pair in San Jose, that consistently played against McKinnon and McDavid, and we would chase that because they were really effective at it. So, I think, Chris Tanev is an effective guy in those type of roles.
I know it's off day, but any injury updates? Have we seen anything better from Mason? He seems really close.
Really close. I would call him game time tomorrow. So, some good positive stuff there. We'll see. And
Hotspot Seaman skating with the team?
he's not skating with the team. No, not yet. So that'll be the next step.
Coach, doing a story on Radek.
Yeah.
Talk to me about your first impressions of him and what he's meant to this team this season.
Yeah. Well, Radek's, he's a lifetime Dallas Star, drafted, developed, played here. He's got a history with Steve Spott, my assistant coach. He was his junior coach when he first came over from Czech Republic when he was 17 years old. So Spotter's known him, basically since he's been a teenager and followed him. So when you get here, you realize how important he is to the group and to the dressing room. We asked him to play a different role than he played under Rick Bowness. Rick Bowness used him, as a matchup guy against all the team's best players, and he played a lot of minutes a night doing that. And we asked him to take a little bit less in a different role, and he's the consummate team guy. And he's done that. And, he's been he's a big part of the fabric of what we do here, even though maybe he's not, playing as much every night or in the lineup every night, as he might have been 5 years ago.